What's going on, good people? Welcome back to another episode of the Bison Trading Show, coming at you live from the Bison Trading Lab. Today is Friday, July 16th, so you know what that means. It means that it's time for once again another episode where we come to you, we put together everything that we taught you throughout the week. We show you how to put it together in a real live trading session so you can trade well too and make good investments. If you don't know, I'm half of the Bison Trading Show crew. I go by the name of Ty Trade Futures, and of course, I'm here with my guy.
You already know, man, the one of one at I'm the D guy, aka Pro Financial, man. I hope you guys took your notes from yesterday. We went over some important levels yesterday, and let's see how the market played out overnight, and let's see if we executed or we just got it wrong, all in one. So let's just jump right on in.
So today I'll be trading the Dow Jones, and Darren, what are you be looking at?
I want to look at AU because AU has really been making some movements over at least overnight, and let's kind of like review kind of what we've seen last night and what we kind of projected last night. I think one of the things I said last night was I believe that being that AU was, come on, you stupid thing. Being that AU was sitting exactly on a strong demand zone, we were expecting one of two things. Either we was looking for the prices to come down and break this base area to continue back down, or if we were thinking about going for a buy, we wouldn't be thinking about hopping in until it broke first the both moving averages and at least these high areas sitting at 75. So I think for right now, let me just drop down to a smaller time frame. I think it's just kind of just been moving sideways, and it hasn't really been giving us, no kind of signal. It's just really been kind of moving up and down. But I think I'm more convinced that since we're sitting on this strong demand zone, I can definitely believe we can start making our prices to go up. So for the most part, I'm just looking for prices to kind of push back up into these blue zones we drew last night. Try to find some type of rejection. And I think I was really clear about last night, which was these arrows right here. So first, which was this head and shoulders pattern. Before all of this happened, I was kind of focused on this head and shoulders pattern. So this was kind of like the head. We had this left shoulder over here, but none of this was really even formed yet. So I was kind of looking for prices to come back into and reject at this blue zone here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. To reject at this blue zone here and then make its way down. Or if prices was going to break down below the base, we was going to need that break completely out of it, the retest, and that retest was going to be the area we were looking for prices to bring down prices back lower. But as you can see, none of that even happened in the slightest fashion. Pretty much it just kind of just hit this area and just shot up, and we still kind of sitting in like this consolidation area. But I think if we can play nice smoothly off of this wick, which kind of shows me that whatever's sitting at the bottom of this area, we should be seeing prices going higher highs and higher lows. So I'm looking at AU and just kind of see where I can hop in for a nice little buy move, being that we didn't have no momentum or confirmations that the market was going to sell off. So I'll be looking to buy this particular pair. What about you?
All right, so today I'll be trading the Dow Jones, and overall, I know over the past couple of weeks, I've been telling you guys how, for the most part, we were on our way back up to 35,000, and today that's still holding true. Because if we look at the chart right now, so let's pull up the Dow Jones futures real quick. The market is open, so we want to go ahead and run through this analysis so I can tell you guys about what I want to do today. So we look at the daily chart, we can see that ever since we had that pullback, right around June is when I started telling people this is where we need to start looking for prices to move back up to 35,000. Once we have this V pattern reversal, that's a very strong bullish sign on the chart. Once you see that, and then it's followed by higher lows once again, that means that the bulls have taken back over and the momentum is pushing towards the upside. So you have a higher probability of making money if you choose to buy in those moments. And one thing we know about the Dow Jones from all of our classes, as many times as we looked at a daily chart, we know that the Dow Jones has a tendency to move to the upside, and it's never been any type of pullback that hasn't been recovered from. So I called 35,000 because that was where support was, That was where upside resistance was. That was where the all-time high previously was located at. So now we're on our way back up to that number. We're at 34,900. So we could potentially see that number get hit today. So that's what I'm aiming for and what I'm looking for. So all I'm trying to do is find pullback areas that I can hop into that will show me, well, that would give me a very high probability of making money and decrease my risk at the same time. That's the name of the game. More reward, less risk. So if we look at the 15-minute chart, we can see that we've come up and we've already tested 34,950. So I'm looking for a move back to around 925, the major quarter level below that level, and then I want to be able to take it back up to 35,000. So that's what I'm looking at today. But of course, you don't want to just rush in because you think that it's going to be an update. You want to make sure that the trend confirms itself after the market opens. So now that the market is open, let's go ahead and switch over to our charts and see what's going on. So, okay. Right now,
I'm muting him, Mom, so.
So we had our order that we had at 27.
You heard me?
Sellers actually ran through those prices very quickly.
Because Chris is coming.
So we need to think, what does this candle represent?
Right,
because if we look at this candle, this is clearly a bearish engulfing candle. No. So that's telling us that for whatever reason, buyers might have had momentum, but it's not sustaining and it's not holding up right now. So that pretty much tells us that as a buyer, we need to be a little bit patient. Either we be patient or we let the sellers just take over, and if they continue to push this market down, then that's when we hop in and try and join the sell side as well. So right now we're coming back into major demand levels that we had at 34,900, and also down below, further down at 34,850. So all of these levels can still be touched. Right now we see that the sellers have come in with this momentum and been able to push the market down. But the question is, are the sellers really just pushing the market back down to 900 so we can set up for that push all the way back up to 35,000? That's what I'm thinking about. But before I even start to trade that idea, I want to make sure that the market confirms what I'm looking for. So before I think about going long, I first need prices to break up past 34,925. Notice how that kind of marks up the top level area for the consolidation zone that we just formed. We have a box between 924 and pretty much 900. So we're trading within a very tight range right now. Now, if we can break back above 925 and see a higher low, I think that'll give us everything that we need to go long. But right now, coming off of this big sell move at the open, we don't want to rush into this to the buying trade just yet. We got to be a little bit patient. The one thing about the Dow Jones is that what I've noticed is that if you have a certain type of move before the market opens, like say it's a very strong up move, sometimes when the market opens, you can have a big sell-off because you got to think about what the futures contracts represents. The futures contracts are able to be traded 23 hours a day, so you can get in and get out whenever you want to. So if you thought the Dow Jones was going to 35,000 and it did it overnight, you could get out of your position at like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning whenever you wanted to. But if you trade the stock version of this same chart, the market doesn't open until 9:30. So imagine seeing your profit target get hit at 35,000, but you can't take profit at 2 in the morning because the market for the stocks are not open for the Dow Jones. So now you have to wait a whole nother 7 hours. And along the way, you just see your profit decrease and decrease. Man, as soon as the market opens, I'm taking my profit. That's what a lot of buyers are thinking who aren't trading futures. Futures contracts follow the stock market and the actual cash market that opens up at 9:30. So for all of the stock traders, if they have to take profit and they were long, what does that mean? In order to close out a long position, you have to sell. So that adds to the selling pressure when the market first opens. And that kind of leads to moves that we're seeing right now. Now, the thing is, it comes to a crossroad at a certain point in time where the sellers have to either decide, do we have enough momentum to keep this going, or are we going to hand it back over to the buyers now that we push prices low? Because as buyers, what do we always talk about? We talk about buying low, selling high.
Mm-hmm.
Buying low is never going to be comfortable because it just goes against everything you know. Market is falling apart. Why would I buy right here? Because the prices are lower and you're getting the value. So we take that same mentality from long-term investing and we still apply it to our lower term time frames all the way down to a 1 minute chart. The scenario never changes. The game never changes. All we have to do is be patient and wait for our opportunity. So one thing I also want you guys to look at, pay attention to, is volume. Notice how at the open we had the highest volume candle. That's typical. That's how it should be. Now, after the open, you want to look for the next highest candle after that because that usually represents exhaustion. Whenever you see a high volume bar, it means that everybody who wants to participate in the trend has already done so. Right now, we know that the trend for the moment since the market opened is down. Now look at the volume. Notice how this volume bar down here is higher than anything else relatively close to it since the open. That tells us it's exhaustion right here. We follow that volume bar up to the candle that it corresponds with. We have a little bit of a long tail wick, not much of it, but we can clearly tell that that's a bottom that got established right there. So that happened on higher volume. So what does that tell us? That tells us that all the people that wanted to sell have already done so all the way down until we got to 900, a major demand zone that we were looking at. We saw the bounce. That's the first thing that we like to see, right? We saw a bounce on exhaustion volume. Now we see prices breaking back up above that 925 level that we were talking about. Once we get a close above it and we get our higher low, that's when we go long and we take this thing back up to 35,000 and we make our profits and we get out of it. So until that happens, we're gonna check back in with Darren and see what's shaking and moving with AU.
All right. So with that even being said, I'm going to still really focus on the buy setup for this one. So I put a nice little long position setup here, and I'm kind of really playing it off of our quarter levels in which I mentioned last night, which was our 74 200, 74 175, 74 150. Those were the levels we were kind of trying to pretty much play off of to bring the market higher. And the reason why I said I wanted to bring it higher is because we came down into the strong demand zone the last time. The last time we came into the strong demand zone, the market didn't want nothing to do with it. Once we came out of this level here, it never had any momentum to come back down into that area. But if we fast forward to where we are, kind of where we are right now, we have a wick that looks like it pushed into it. But you know what I do when I see that? I put a line. When I put a line chart, this really kind of shows me where is a more solid area to get into. Yeah, the wicks did push into the blue zones, but look what happened when I took away where I put the line chart. It looks like we had a more solid hit around the 74 125 area, much more than we had lower at the 74 100 area. So pretty much I'm going to have a setup, the setup that I'm going to pretty much have, let me turn back to the candle, is pretty much really play off of the quarter level of 175 and 150. So I'm looking for the prices to come down to as low as 150 or stay right here at that 175, and pretty much I want to bring to the back to the top of structure, but I think that might be a little too high. So I'm actually going to line it up exactly with this 65 moving average. I think that's just more obtainable compared to trying to get it all the way to the top of structure. So I feel like lining it up with the 65 moving average might be a better play for me. Like I said, I won't jump immediately in. I need the confirmations. Hold on, let me go down to this hour really quick. I wish I can kind of hide. Yeah, let me take this away so I can show you guys this. So pretty much I noticed how when we were here, this was our first level or our first leg of a higher low. This is a higher high. This is a higher high. And now we should be looking for another higher low. Being that it played right off of the 150, I'm looking for it to bounce somewhere off of that 175 or into that blue zone and just take it back up to that 65 moving average. I think it's on the 5 minute, I think. But yeah, I think that's pretty much going to be my play for today. I can't really rock out with you guys for the whole session today, but I definitely wanted to show you guys my little setup. And like I said, I'm only looking for the buy on this one. I felt like ever since we came into this demand zone, it just doesn't have enough momentum to break through it. So for the most part, I'm looking for it to go up off of that 174, 175 or that 74, 150. So that's pretty much my play for today. And me personally, I gotta wrap it up for today. But my boy Tiberius is definitely gonna rock the boat out for the rest of the show. I appreciate you guys for pulling up with me tonight, or excuse me, last night and this morning. But Tiberius, man, go ahead and drive the boat, my good boy. I'm gonna holla at you,
All
my
right,
G.
good people. All right, my boy. Appreciate you
Appreciate
for
y'all, man. I
taking
love
in.
y'all,
I'm gonna hold
man.
it down.
Let's go. Yo, rock out for us, my boy. Get them points, bro. Get that 50-pointer, bro. I feel it.
Feel it.
All right, my
Coming.
G. I'm going to hit you.
All right, bro.
Appreciate y'all.